Hi guys, Mary here from Croyden Crochet. Thanks for joining me in another video tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how I crochet my Alabaster Slouch. Now this is a free pattern on my blog. I will put the link to the written pattern in the description if you want to follow along with the written pattern. Now this is a great beginner pattern. So if you are new to crochet or are looking for just a quick and easy beanie pattern, this beanie will work perfectly for that. Today I'm going to be working this beanie pattern in Lion Brand's Vanna's Choice. This is the yarn that I use in the written pattern on my blog, and this is just a great all-purpose worsted weight yarn, and you should be able to find this in pretty much any store that sells yarn. Now if for some reason you can't, you can go ahead and just work this beanie up in any comparable worsted weight yarn. I'm going to be using a 5mm crochet hook for this pattern, and this color is actually the color Linen. Now this yarn comes in so many different colors, so you are definitely sure to find a color that you love. I am going to go ahead and work this beanie up in a color that is a little bit darker so that you will be able to see my stitches. So I'm going to be working with the color Kelly Green. So the first thing we need to do to make this beanie is we are going to create our band. Now to create the band, we are just going to be working in simple back and forth rows of single crochet. If you want to swap just that traditional single crochet out for a back loop single crochet, you can go ahead and do that too if you want a little bit more of a different look to your band. So to get started on our band, we are going to make a chain of 8. Yarn over, pull through, that's 1 chain, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, just like that. Now because I know I'm going to be joining this edge to the other edge of my band when we create kind of like a tube, I like to work in the back loops now, or I should say the back bumps. This is completely optional, but I just have found that it creates a cleaner join. But again, whatever you're more comfortable with, you can go ahead and do. So I'm going to be working in that second chain or second bump from our hook, and I'm just going to be making a single crochet in that back bump. And we're just going to make a single crochet in the back bump of every chain across our band. So that's 3, 4, and you should end up with 7 single crochet. Because we worked in the second chain from the hook, we're going to be losing a stitch. Okay, and this is kind of this is probably the trickiest part of the band, working in the back bump here. And then this is the last stitch right here, the last chain. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're just going to chain 1, and then we're going to turn our work, and we're just going to work a single crochet into that first stitch. Okay, not too hard. Oops. And we're just going to continue working a single crochet in every stitch across. Oops. Yeah. Just chaining 1, turning our work, and then working in the opposite direction. So just simple back and forth rows of single crochet. Okay? All right, so at this point we'll chain 1 and turn, So just continue working in back and forth single crochets. Now for the pattern, for a band that is 20 inches long, I ended the band on 73 rows. Now, depending on your head circumference, you may have a band that is shorter or longer. The length does not matter. Just make sure that you end on an odd number of rows for your band. So continue working in back and forth single crochet rows, and I will join with you. Okay, so I have just finished working my 73 single crochet rows. So here's my tail here. All right, let's put this. All right, so you should have ended on the bottom row. I say the bottom row. So your tail's here, and you should have ended here. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to fold our band like this, and then we're going to slip stitch up the sides. Now there are many different ways to join a band and slip stitch it together. I'm just going to show you the way that I typically do it. So for this edge right here, I am going to put my hook through the first 2 loops of that stitch. So just like that. And then I'm going to grab this loop and I'm going to tighten it, and we're going to pull it through the first 2 loops. Just like that. All right. Now I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to work right back into those first 2 loops. Put my hook in there, and then the first 2 loops of the other edge, and make our first slip knot. Right? Now for the edge that's closest to me, I'm going to work through both loops, and then I'm going to work in the back loop of that edge. I'm going to do the same thing for the next stitch, working in the back loop of the other edge. Just continue working along both edges, making sure you're going through both loops here, so the edge that's closer to you, and then the back loop of the other edge. Just like that. All right, now I'm coming up on the last stitches of each edge, and I'm going to work through both loops here and both loops on the other edge. And I just like to do this because I feel like it gives a more sturdy join. All right, so we've just slip stitched across, so now we have joined both edges, and now what I like to do is chain 1. Okay, and then we're just going to turn our work right side out, just like that. Okay. And now what we're going to do is we're going to get started on the body of our beanie. Now to do that, we need to work single crochets along the edge of this band here. Unfortunately, there's no designated stitch here to work into, so you just have to find where your hook will go through. So I'm going to start with these 2 loops here and work my first single crochet right there. Actually, I don't want to go under both of those, just there we go, working through these 2 loops right here. Okay, so that's our first single crochet. Now again, my length of my band was 20 inches, so I'm going to be working 60 single crochets around the edge. You will have a different stitch count in single crochets if you made your band shorter or longer, and that's totally fine. Just make sure that you work an even number of single crochets around your band. Okay, So here's my first single crochet, 2, I'm going to work my third one here. And this part can be a little tricky, especially if you're new to crochet and you're not really sure where you're supposed to put your hook. Again, there's no right or wrong area. Just make sure that you work your single crochets evenly around. This will allow your body to kind of not pucker, and it'll just be nice and smooth and even. Okay, so that was my third single crochet. So just continue working single crochets all the way around until you come back to your first single crochet that you made. Okay? Okay, so I just got done working my 60 single crochet all the way around, and now what we're going to do is we're going to slip stitch into that first single crochet that we made of the round. So it's this one right here. It's kind of on a slant a little bit, so we're just going to slip stitch into that single crochet just to close our round. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the actual body of our beanie. So what we're going to do is we're going to chain 1, and we're going to work a single crochet and a double crochet into that stitch that you just made your join, so the first stitch. So make a single crochet and a double crochet all into that first stitch. Okay, just like that. Now we're going to skip this stitch, so the second stitch, and we're going to be working in the next stitch, and we're going to make a single crochet and a double crochet. All right, we're going to skip this stitch and work in the next stitch a single crochet and a double crochet. And you're just going to repeat that all the way around, skipping the next stitch and working a single crochet and a double crochet in the next stitch. Just like this. All right, so continue working your single crochet and your double crochet cluster, skipping the next stitch and working your single crochet, double crochet cluster all the way around the edge of your beanie, and I will rejoin with you. Okay, so I just finished my last single crochet, double crochet cluster of this round, and you can see here that I have one single crochet left right here. Don't get that confused with this stitch right here, because this stitch is where your chain 1 is coming out of. I would always get confused with this when I was first learning to crochet, so I just want to point that out, that this right here is your last stitch of the round. So what we're going to do is we're going to skip this single crochet, and we're going to work our next cluster in the first single crochet that you made of the round. So we're not going to be joining rounds anymore. We're going to be working in a continual round. So go ahead, skip this single crochet and make your next single crochet, double crochet cluster in that first single crochet that you made of the round. So right here. So we're going to make a single crochet and a double crochet. Oops. Just like that. Okay? Now we're going to be working our second row. Now if you want, you can go ahead and place a stitch marker on that first single crochet if you want. That's up to you. I just know that I can kind of keep track of my rounds by just knowing that this is my tail. So when I come back around to about here, I know that that's pretty much another row that I have crocheted. But if you want to keep a stitch marker in the first, I guess you could say, cluster of every round, you can go ahead and do that. Otherwise, you can just count 15 rows up, and that will be about 9 inches. That will include the band. So go ahead and make your, so we're going to skip over this stitch right here, and we're going to make our next single crochet, double crochet cluster, just like we did in the first round. Single crochet, double crochet. All right, skip the next stitch, work into that next stitch, our single crochet, double crochet cluster. All right, and we're just going to continue working that all the way around in continuous rounds until we have reached roughly 9.5 inches. That, like I said, includes the band, or if you are keeping track with the stitch marker, that would be roughly 15 rounds. Okay, so after you've completed 15 rounds, we will rejoin and I will show you how you close the top of your beanie. Okay, so I just finished my 15th round of single crochet, double crochet cluster, and now what I'm going to do is slip stitch into that next stitch. And what this slip stitch does is it just closes the continual rounds that we were working in. Now we're going to make a half double crochet in every stitch around. So we're going to chain 1, make a half double crochet into that same stitch, and then continue making a half double crochet into every stitch around. So go ahead and work a half double crochet in every stitch around, and I will rejoin with you. Okay, so I just finished my last half double crochet of this round, and I'm going to slip stitch to the first half double crochet that I made of this round. Okay, now we're going to work a row of single crochet decreases. So we're going to chain 1, work a single crochet into that same stitch, and then we're going to work a single crochet decrease. So to work a single crochet decrease, we insert our hook, pull up a loop, insert your hook into the next stitch and pull up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 3. In this next stitch, make a single crochet, and then we're going to make another single crochet decrease. Pull up a loop, in the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through all 3. In the next stitch, we're going to make a regular single crochet, and then we're going to make a single crochet decrease. And we're just going to follow this pattern all the way around of making a single crochet in the next stitch, and then a single crochet decrease in the next. All right, so work that pattern of a single crochet and then a single crochet decrease all the way around, and I will rejoin with you. Okay, so I went ahead and I just slip stitched to that first single crochet of our round to close this round. And now what we're going to do is we're going to chain 1, and we're just going to make a single crochet into every stitch around. So pretty easy. So go ahead and work a single crochet in every stitch around. Okay, so I just finished my last single crochet, and I am going to slip stitch into the first single crochet that I made of my round. All right, so we are done at this point shaping the top of our beanie, and what we're going to do is we're going to bind off, but we're going to leave a long enough tail to be able to cinch this beanie shut. So roughly, I'm going to say about 12 inches, 12 to 13 inches. So go ahead and just cut a long enough tail here. Okay. And we're just going to yarn over it and pull that through to tighten. Okay. Now, there are many ways to cinch the top of a beanie, but I'm going to show you the way that I like to do it. So at this point, I'm going to thread a needle. So get your tapestry needle, and we're going to thread the tail. And what I like to do is I like to work my needle in and then out of every post around, so every single crochet post. So I'm going to take my needle and I'm just going to put it through the post here of that single crochet, the first one, and then I'm going to work it back out. And to make this easier, I kind of just stick my needle in and then I'll weave it like this in and out of every single crochet post. So right here, these are your single crochet posts. So I might do maybe like 3 at a time or something like that. So I'm just going to continue weaving my needle in and out of every single crochet post. All right, so go ahead and work that all the way around. Okay, so I'm coming up to the end here, and what I'm going to do is make sure that I end with putting the needle from outside to inside, just like this. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically drop my needle through my hat, my opening of my hat, and grab it with my other hand. Just like this. Okay. And now I'm going to pull this yarn like this. And you can look at the top of it if you want while you're pulling it. That's fine. Doesn't really matter. But so I'm just going to cinch it tight like that, making sure I have an even kind of cinch all the way around, I guess you could say. Now, from this point, you can kind of fasten off however you like. So what I like to do is just trim my... Okay, so I just trimmed my tail. And what I like to do is just make sure that this tail is secure. So just pull on it a little bit, pull on it tightly. And there's many ways to do this. you're just kind of fastening it so it doesn't, so your hole is nice and shut here. And this is the back. And at this point, you're just going to weave in all of your ends. And there you go. There you have it, your own Alabaster Slouch Beanie. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope that this was beginner friendly enough for you. If you have any questions, please don't forget to comment, and I will do my best to answer any questions that you have. Thanks again, guys. Be sure to click the subscribe button to my YouTube channel to receive all of my latest videos and updates.